Alright everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Now recently I've been getting a lot of requests about what camera settings should I use to take good car photos, how do I edit my photos. So in today's video we're going to go ahead and go over how do I take good photos, what are some key settings to look at, and some key things to consider when actually taking the photograph. So let's begin. So the first step of a great photo should always be, what location am I going to be shooting at? Is it an interesting location? If the location is boring, then the actual picture is going to be boring, if that makes sense. So I like this spot because it's a pretty quiet road and there's not a lot of traffic here, so I have a lot of time and room to move around my subject. And there's like a nice little bend in the road. It's pretty interesting with the foliage and stuff. So right now we are shooting sort of in the morning, but this is already kind of late morning. I consider it's already like almost 11 o'clock here. I tend to pick out a location that has some sort of shadows in it to where I don't have to shoot in direct light of the sun, because that kind of takes away some of the contours and body lines of the car and actually blows out the highlights completely. My ideal suggestion, if you want to get the best photos, is to go out and shoot during that golden hour period. The sun is at its most beautiful state and it's very easy to get good pictures. So if you're a beginner, I would recommend shooting at that time frame. Of course, it's good to challenge yourself in different light conditions, so then you'll become a well-rounded photographer. So I urge to do that as well. Alright, so let's talk about camera settings. There's three main things that control a photo. We have shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. So let's talk about ISO, which is the most basic and easiest to understand. ISO is the amount of artificial light your sensor produces to light up the image. So the higher that number is, the more noise you'll be introducing into your picture. Noise is those little artifacts you see, that little grain. That's what we photographers call noise. And it's sometimes not ideal for an image. Usually you get that when your ISO is over 1,000, and you know, when you get those numbers pretty high. Or you can even see that when you shoot an underexposed image and you lift the shadows and you see there's artificial noise. For photos, I would recommend shooting under 800 ISO to get the cleanest shots. However, don't be afraid if you need to go over that. I'm just saying, for the cleanest possible shot, I recommend shooting under 800. With Sonys, you don't really have to worry about that too much. You can go up to, say, 4000 ISO without compromising too much. Hopefully you guys understand that. I'm making sense here. I'm trying to keep it clear with you guys, and I'll be providing some examples later in this video. Now that we have ISO down, we need to understand how your shutter speed works. What is shutter speed? Shutter speed is the speed at which your shutter actually closes. Well, this new mirrorless camera, the new mirrorless cameras technology, they don't have mechanical shutters, they have electronic shutters. Basically the same thing, just a different technology, and it's faster. With shutter speed, what we need to understand is the slower the shutter speed is, the more light we let in without introducing additional noise. The faster your shutter speed, the less light you will let into your camera. So what is that? How does that affect your image? Well, if we go back to ISO, and let's say I'm shooting at 4000 ISO midday and my shutter speed is cranked up to 1/12,000. You know, I don't want to be shooting at 4000 ISO if I don't have to, so I can crank back my shutter speed to lower my ISO to, say, 800. For subjects like this, you don't need to be using crazy shutter speeds. Your subject is not moving, it's standing still. So that is a lot easier to take photos of. The only thing you need to worry about with shutter speed is if you go too low, your hands naturally move when you hold that camera. So one little bump and the whole image might be out of focus. Here's the rule of thumb for shutter speed during the day. Now, these rules you can sort of bend, and you see me bending them at night when I take photos. I go way below what I say, but the rule of thumb is to double your shutter speed for the focal length you're using. So say I'm using a 24mm, minimum value shutter speed I should use is 1/50th. So that is your ideal. At night though, that becomes a little difficult because you want to get as much light in without introducing noise. So what we do is we have to brace the camera on something, either a tripod or on your body, to hold it as still as possible without shaking the camera when you go, say, 1/30th, 1/20th of a second. And I usually like to take several photos at a time, because the first photo, when I press that initial shutter button, take the photo, it might move a little bit, but you know, maybe the 5th photo or the 4th photo in that stack will be in focus. So this is what I'm talking about here. So this situation here, I'm taking an interior shot. I want to make sure that I'm using as low of an ISO as I can, and I'm shooting wide open on aperture, which we will get into later. But you can see my shutter speed here is really low, and it's well below what I recommended earlier. But only do this when you're comfortable and you get to know your camera really well. Stick to the rule of thumb if you're new and you want to get good at photography. Then you can move to the more advanced stuff. Alright, now the third and most probably difficult concept to understand, which it shouldn't be, but if you're new, this might be a little, you know, mind-boggling at first. I've made this mistake several times in the past, so I'm basically teaching you guys from my past mistakes of how to get better. So aperture is your iris on the lens. So this lens here, fullest it's open, is at f2.8. My other two lenses I've primes are at f1.8. So wide open, what does that control? Well, that controls your light, first of all, how much light it lets in. The bigger your iris is open, the more light it lets in physically. So just like shutter speed, there's two things it controls. It controls light and then its other primary function. So the shutter speed, it's the motion of the picture it controls, you know, how fast and how slow it can capture an image. With aperture, it's your depth of field. So right now you can see I'm shooting on wide open. I'm in focus here, but the rest of the background around me is out of focus and blurred. So how does this affect how I take a picture? Well, if I am taking a picture from me standing next to a car like this, you know, I wouldn't want to use f2.8. I would want to use a higher aperture so then I get me and the subject in focus. Shooting wide open can be very appealing because of the bokeh and the beautiful blur that you get, but sometimes you got to remember, if I'm shooting a car from 3/4, I don't want to shoot wide open because I'll only get the front portion of the car actually in focus. I would want to shoot at maybe f5.6, f6.3, maybe even higher than that to get the full car in focus if I'm shooting, say, at a 3/4 angle. So I get the front bumper all the way to the back wheel of the car in focus. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're shooting at night, you're probably going to be forced to shoot wide open here. But during the day, you're shooting out in the daylight like this, you have plenty of light, so your aperture, I would recommend actually to bring it up to, say, f3.5 and higher, so you get most of your subject in focus. You'll still have bokeh, don't get me wrong, it just won't look as, you know, marvelous. But what's more important? Are you trying to get a close-up shot of, say, a logo and you want to shoot wide open so the rest of the background is blurred? Sure, you can do that. I'm not saying you can't do that. So let's say I'm shooting a group of people here. I don't want to shoot wide open because let's say the focus area will be on my face, and then as the people come out or stand next to me, or maybe someone's in front or behind me, their face is going to be slightly out of focus. To control that, we can decrease the size of the iris to f5.6, f6.3, and that will allow a wider depth of field, which means we will capture more of the subject in focus. So hopefully this makes sense. Let's go ahead, take some photos, and you will see the difference. All right, so let's begin. Let's start with the lens I'm using. So this is my 85mm f1.8. So as I said earlier, we're going to be using a shutter speed of 1/60th will be my minimum shutter speed I would want to use. So I'm going to begin by taking a photo at f1.8, which is the widest this lens will go, 1/60th ISO. I'm going to try to get a horizontal shot just for the YouTube video for you guys to visualize it a little bit easier. Alright, let's try shooting at f4.0, see if that makes a difference. It's a big difference there. So basically, once you get your settings down and you like it, you can just keep using it unless you need to adjust the brightness, because depending where you go, it might get darker or brighter. If I was shooting this at night, I would probably be forced to shoot wide open, which would mean my subject wouldn't be in focus at all times. Only a portion of it, because I'm using such a shallow depth of field. It's a nice effect if I'm going for a close-up shot of a logo or detail or emblem. You can actually shoot wide open if you stand far enough from your subject, so there's enough background separation from the subject. I'll show you this. So here I'm shooting at f2.8. I want to say half of my subject is in focus at f2.8 or f2.0, I think. Let me shoot at f1.8. I'm gonna do a horizontal shot here. I'll do one like this. Alright, so I'm going to show you a good example of when to use a shallow depth of field. Here we have a logo. There we go. So for like a side profile shot, I would want to use a smaller aperture, and then I'm going to decrease my shutter speed to get that light back in. Probably need to get my 35 to get the interior shots. So this is a spot where I'd need to shoot wide open, because you saw me there shooting at around 4000 ISO. Get a horizontal shot for you guys. This is like pillar hairs in the way. Alright, so hopefully some of this stuff is making sense. I know I'm not really great at explaining everything, but I just hope, you know, this kind of somewhat clears up of, you know, how to shoot, some of the basics. Alright everyone, so that's going to be pretty much a wrap for today's video. I hope you learned something new. Hopefully my explanations weren't too tedious and too long. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and we'll have more awesome videos like this coming out next week. Stay tuned. What am I talking about? Oh my god, this video is so cringe, you don't understand.